Former President Trump expected to travel from Florida to New York City later today ahead of his arraignment in a lower Manhattan courthouse tomorrow. We're expecting to finally learn what the Manhattan DA is alleging. And I'm joined right now by Chris Hahn, NewsNation political analyst and host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast. Chris, so whether or not this is a misdemeanor or a felony, if the president can still campaign for the presidency, for the nomination rather, from a jail cell, what is the turnout? How does this impact everyday American people, this indictment, and all of the money he's raising for his campaign in the process?
Well, he'll be out there campaigning for president no matter what happens tomorrow. Whether or not he can talk about the specifics of this case, that will be determined in the courtroom most likely tomorrow, particularly how he addresses the district attorney. I think that his threats on Alvin Bragg with a baseball bat in that tweet, I think the judge might take offense to that and bar him from mentioning the name Alvin Bragg going forward. That won't stop his supporters. That won't stop other people who are around Trump from mentioning him. But he could be barred from saying that in court or face stiffer penalties, including maybe even going to jail. So I don't think we'll hear a lot of that. But that said, look, he's going to be out on the campaign trail. He's going to be working hard to win the Republican nomination. I think he's in a very good place to do that right now. But I don't see how these charges and the charges yet to come in Georgia and federally are going to help him win the general election next November. Because quite frankly, the American people want to know what you can do for them. They don't want to hear about your own problems. And Donald Trump has become a grievance projecting machine right now. And the American people don't want that.
Well, you mentioned the baseball bat post. I just want to make sure that people who haven't seen that know what in the world you're talking about. Mr. Trump saying in an interview that he posted something with his baseball bat, and then somebody added the picture of Bragg later, side by side, maybe some insinuating that he was evoking violence or like, I'm going to get him to DA Bragg. Yeah. But let me just tell you what former Biden press secretary Jen Psaki warned, saying to Democrats, now is, quote, not the time for Democratic candidates to celebrate, to brag, to predict the outcome of the legal cases. If you can, put your head down and stay out of it for now. Should that be what we're all supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I think that's what I wrote in my column last week. I appreciate that Jen Psaki read my column and wrote that. But
imitation is the greatest form of flattery, Chris.
Yeah, and I love her. I think she's great. So, very honored by the invitation. But yes, I do think that we can't jump to conclusions on what these charges even are. We haven't seen it. Grand jury proceedings are secretive. We're going to find out tomorrow, late in the day, more than likely. We might not, quite frankly. And this is going to be tried in a court of law, not in the political arena. And that is a very different arena than Donald Trump and most of us are used to playing in. So let's wait and see what happens. Let's follow the facts. Let's follow the case. And let's see where it goes. I wouldn't pop my champagne cork right now. I don't think the man's going to ever go to jail. And again, I do think this helps him win the primary. I mean, you saw Asa Hutchinson announce he's running for president yesterday, and he said Trump should step down. Well, Asa Hutchinson's probably at 0.0001% in the polls, and he's trying to make traction. Most of the people in the Republican primary field are being very cautious about this for a reason, because the base of the Republican Party is wedded to Donald Trump. And should he become the nominee, hey, it's a coin flip if he gets elected president. I don't think this helps him get elected president, but hey, you never know what's going to happen in a presidential campaign, and you can never count that man out.
Well, it is interesting you say you don't know if it helps him, but I think there are a lot of embroiled Americans who are thinking this is a whole lot of baloney. And then you have others who are thinking and hoping and praying that it does hurt him and that he will not be reelected. Chris Hahn, thank you so much, as always. Good to see you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.